So with that, we have get good, get great, get out for week 8 of the NFL for our power rankings. You know the rules. Get lost. You're just one of the worst teams in the NFL. Get out. I just don't think you're a playoff team. Maybe you're not terrible. Maybe you're rebuilding. Get good means I think you have a chance to make the playoffs. Great. I think you're a lock for the playoffs. And excellent. You're one of the best teams in the NFL. Pretty simple. Let's start with get lost. These are the worst teams in the NFL. Look, let's go left to right. The Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett just had a 5-sack game, and he's throwing his helmet on the sideline because they're still down by double digits. I don't feel bad for Myles Garrett, and I don't think a lot of people do, because Myles knew what he got into when he signed that contract. I'm going to be one of the best players, maybe the best player in the NFL. I mean, is Myles Garrett the best player in the NFL? There's an argument for it, but he's on a really bad team that I truly think has no chance. I wish they would play Shedeur. Dylan Gabriel's not the answer. I don't know if Shedeur is also going to be the answer with this team, but it's rough in Cleveland, man. Miami, congrats on the win. I still don't have a lot of faith in this team. I think they're going to play desperate here for another week. I think they will compete with the Ravens if Lamar is back for about a half. And then I think you're going to see the Dolphins retreat back to coaching issues, not believing in the quarterback. A lot of, they're not terrible, but they've lost momentum. They've lost the belief in their coach. I know reports came out this week that they haven't lost faith in the locker room, or Mike McDaniels hasn't lost the locker room. I don't personally believe that. The Cardinals, speaking of coaches off the locker room, I think Jonathan Gannon has lost it. Some of this, I think, was with how Marvin Harrison Jr. has played. Kyler is now weirdly got dinged up, but now is going to miss almost a month worth of time. There's a lot about Arizona I don't like. I liked the Jonathan Gannon hire initially. I don't think it has panned out the way they wanted, obviously. The Saints, this is just talent, lack of talent. I think the Saints are competing. I think Kellen Moore is actually doing a pretty good job as far as can you show me progress? They just don't have enough talent. Titans, this is another one. Fired their head coach. We're going to see what they do with coaching. Cam Ward I like Cam Ward. I've thought highly of Cam Ward, but realistically right now, Cam Ward is lucky that he was not a very discussed or highly talked about number 1 overall pick, and that is kind of working to his favor right now. The Bengals, Joe Flacco is funny. I think Joe Flacco targeting Jamar Chase double-digit times a game it's a very Tony game plan, but I don't think it's good enough to get them out of get lost. I think without Burrow, this team has no chance. The Jets, congrats, you got your first win. That's about all I can say nice about the Jets. The Raiders, everybody seems to believe in the Raiders every offseason. I don't get it, but maybe that's hate. Get out. Again, these are teams that I just don't think have a chance to make the playoffs right now. The Falcons, you just can't trust them. The Falcons are going to have moments where they look good. They have 30-0 teams. They beat the Bills. Sorry, they got 30-0'd. Then they beat the Bills, and they looked terrible this last weekend. This is just they're way too up and down, way too inconsistent. I can't reliably get behind the Atlanta Falcons. The Carolina Panthers, good home team. I think, again, Brian Canales, Bryce Young. I don't think Bryce is going to be the guy long term. I do really like Canales. They have started to make the turn from they were terrible to where they were decent, and now they are legitimately a good home team. I know they just got smacked by the Bills, but the Bills are in a different weight class. I don't think Bryce is the guy. I do think Canales is the guy. Still not a playoff team. The Jaguars just don't take seriously. Trevor Lawrence, it's like, what are we doing, man? I just don't take this team seriously. I'm sorry. Brian Thomas Jr., they're supposedly shopping, which is nuts to me. This just doesn't feel like not to pull a Colin Coward, but this just doesn't feel like a serious franchise. Not a playoff team. Giants are fun. Dart, Scadaboo. Unfortunately, Scadaboo's out for the year now. Obviously had the horrible ankle injury. Dart is the guy. He feels like he's the guy. I feel like they finally have a quarterback, but that is for the future, not for the present. Not a playoff team. The Cowboys just got smacked by the Broncos. That defense is horrible. Those receivers are great. The tight end's obviously really good. Dak's playing as well as he has. But this is just a worse version of the Bengals last year and the Bengals didn't make the playoffs. So I can't consider the Cowboys a playoff team when I think they are a lesser version of the Bengals from last year. The Texans, I still really like CJ Stroud despite all the struggles. I still really like D'Amico Ryans despite all the struggles. I think we're going to have a really ugly game on Sunday. They play the Broncos. Houston's offensive line is not ready for that. You saw how bad it was with Seattle. Denver's front is even better than Seattle's. They're leading the NFL in sacks. Even without Surtain, I don't think this game is going to be super noticeable because CJ is just going to be running for his life, man. The Commanders, Jaden Daniels, what do we say? Jaden is still, if he was out there, this team would potentially have a chance. But no Jaden Daniels. This defense is, you're starting Von Miller, Bobby Wagner, Marshawn Lattimore. In 2018, you're a top 5 unit. In 2025, you're just old. Vikings, do they trust their quarterback? Like any of them? Carson Wentz got hurt. They kept asking him to play. JJ was hurt. They kept him sidelined even longer. Now Wentz is having season-ending surgery. JJ is now suddenly healthy because Wentz is having season-ending surgery. I still like a lot about this team. Jefferson, Addison, the left tackle, the defense, like Brian Flores. You just don't have a quarterback at this point. You're not a playoff team, Minnesota. I like a lot about this team, though. Just not good enough at QB. Get good. The Patriots, I just want to see you beat somebody, man. I know, okay, you have the one win against the Bills. I'll give you that. But, like, as Drake May continues to play better, it continues to be against lesser competition. I know Cleveland's defense is good, but that offense is atrocious, and they were getting sent up really good field position all day. And that was with Myles Garrett just absolutely handing Will Campbell his ass. And that whole offensive line, in reality. 5 sacks. I think New England is good. I think they're going to be a playoff team. I just don't know if I can move them to great or excellent until I have a couple more quality wins under their belt. The Chargers, again, I think the Chargers have a really good chance to move up and deserve to move up once they're actually healthy. Like once Derwin James is there, Khalil Mack's there and he's fully back healthy. Joe Alt's fully back healthy. Mekhi Becton. Like, I think this Chargers team has a chance to be in great once they're healthy. Until we know they're going to be healthy, I can't move them up. The Steelers have been here all year, and I'm not moving them. Look, they didn't look great against Green Bay, and their defense is struggling, giving up a lot of yards. But they're just going to be 8-1, 9-8. Like some stupid record like that. I think they're just going to, if the Ravens don't catch them, they're just going to consistently be good enough to not be terrible. So I can't put them in the out or get lost category because I think they're just going to be slightly above those teams. The Bears are a good team. Caleb needs to play better, though. Caleb 1,000% needs to play better. You can't lose to the backup Tyler Huntley. Like, you just can't. So the Bears, running game has been good. The defense has been forcing turnovers. I think Ben Johnson is scheming guys open. Caleb has to play better. I can't move them much higher until Caleb starts playing better. I can't quit the Ravens, man. As much as Tony gets mad at me for it, I just can't quit them. I think there is, if Lamar comes back, I think they're too good. If they're any resembling healthy, I think they're just too good. And the 49ers, again, they're similar both to the Chargers where they're really close to get great. And I'd actually be better than the Chargers. They are fully healthy. But the reality is they're not even close to healthy. They got cluster injuries everywhere. Kyle Shanahan would still be my early coach of the year candidate because he's got X amount of wins with Mac Jones, but I think is extremely impressive. But too many injuries here, man. Get great. The Bills are still a great team, guys. I know everybody wanted to write the downfall of the Bills, but here's the reality. Josh Allen is still Josh Allen. He still has the ability to go Superman. He still is the second best quarterback in the National Football League. What else was I need to say? The Buccaneers, I think, are a great team. I wish they were. Now they did dominate the Saints, which if that game they went last minute with or last possession, I do think I would probably have moved them down potentially. But they showed when they're playing a below average team, a team clearly not as good as them, they can put their foot on their neck. Baker just doesn't like the Saints apparently. That was an interview, the media session did last week, and he was like, yeah, I think they're trying to hurt people. I think they play dirty, et cetera, et cetera. So I was very glad they dominated that game. The Rams are really close to excellent. I think if Puka was healthy, I would have them in excellent. I do worry about a Devontae Adams-led receiving core. I do worry about I love Matthew Stafford, but I feel like there's been these clearly great games, and there's been clearly games. Again, if Puka gets healthy, this defense is legit. Stafford and McVay I trust in the playoffs. This is one of the best teams in football. Now comes the two teams whose quarterbacks do we fully trust? That's all these teams are missing. Seattle might be the best team no one talks about. Seattle's great. But do we truly believe in Sam Darnold now 20 plus games into this? Do we truly believe he is the franchise quarterback that we were promised when the Jets drafted him 3rd overall? And the Colts, I still have Daniel Jones bias. I can't lose it. The reality is he was bad for so long. Do I now think he is this guy where his offense is more prolific than they just dropped below yards per play from the 07 Patriots. He has scored more points than the Peyton Manning-led Colts team. I just think some of these things are going to start coming back down to the media, and I want to see what they end. But right now, definitively a great team. Get excellent. Eagles, Lions, Broncos, Packers. I think these are your 4 best rosters in the NFL. I think the Eagles, the Lions, the Broncos, and Packers have the 4 best rosters. Take defense, offensive line, receivers. These are the 4 best rosters. The Eagles probably have the best roster by, it's a margin, but they probably have the best roster in the NFL. Again, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, that offensive line, while not as dominant as it was, still really good. Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Zach Bond, that defense. They're 6-2. I know he wanted to write doom and gloom when they lost the back-to-back games, but they have found a way to steady the ship. They're playing great. Jalen Hurts has just incredibly efficient. Not high volume, but incredibly efficient, securing himself the top 10 conversations, obviously, which were ridiculous. Still showing that, excuse me. Yeah, the top 10 conversation was ridiculous. Jalen Hurts is playing very well. The Lions, this might be the best offense when they're rolling. They're probably the worst team to be down against because when they're rolling, they're just going to steamroll you. Probably better than any team in the NFL. So, defensively, I've got some concerns. I do think it is a little Aiden Hutchinson reliant, but then there's my Broncos, 6-2, first place in the AFC West. In my opinion, the second best defense in football, but the best defense in football is probably the Texans, and I don't think that's going to matter. You're going to see that on Sunday. This pass rush, I'm a little concerned, yes, Surtain being out obviously for a couple weeks, but they have depth at corner. Bronco fans, Riley Moss is fine. He's a good player. He's just not Pat Surtain. They're going to play a little bit more zone. They still get after the quarterback better than anybody. They have the highest sack differential in the NFL. Bo, the last 2 games, 8 touchdowns. Again, if it was any other of these second-year quarterbacks that had 8 touchdowns in a 2-game span, we would be singing their praises. He leads that entire class, touchdowns, yards, wins. This is a legitimate Super Bowl team, like Sean Payton said. The Packers I want to get to before the Chiefs. The Packers, if Jordan Love just can't make the mistake. And that's why I want to clarify these 4 rosters. Eagles, Lions, Broncos, Packers. Their quarterbacks are the most interesting parts of their team. They're probably the most interesting players in the NFL. Because if they're great on a given Sunday, those teams are unbeatable. If Jalen Hurts is great, you're not beating the Eagles. If Jared Goff is great, you're not beating the Lions. If Bo Nix is great, you're not beating the Broncos. And if Jordan Love is great, you're not beating the backers.
I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.